Who's ready for some fireworks on Comic Book Cannnon? That's right. 4th of July weekend. We hope you're all safe, hanging out with family. If you're in the U.S., if you're anywhere else around the globe, we hope you're hanging out, chilling out with family as well, having a good time. We are here July 3rd, the day before July 4th. Looking forward again to just hanging out with friends, family, and just chilling out, man. Just chilling out. Interesting times as always, but we're not going to get into all the specifics of that because we got a show to do. And speaking of, I'm going to bring on my good friend, partner in crime, and co-host of the Cannon, Christopher.
What's up? What is going on?
How's it hanging?
It's good. It's good. Been having a good weekend.
What is your preferred food on 4th of July?
I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm gonna tell you.
Go for it.
I don't know if I prefer food on much any day, rather than what I'm craving for that day. So I could be eating sushi on Christmas dinner. I could be eating Indian food on 4th of July. When I get hungry, I want what I want, man. But you know, food is a great celebratory tool. You know, it brings people together. It really can be much more than just something that tastes good that we shove down our throats. So I'm all for whatever you guys want to eat to celebrate whatever it is you're celebrating, whether it's this weekend for 4th of July or anytime throughout the year, man. Get on with it. I've heard the craziest things when you think of like standard traditional things for certain holidays, and people just come out the woodworks. And I'm like, hey man, if it works for you.
Yeah, no doubt. We want to hear what you guys want to eat on the 4th tomorrow. Chris, if we were together, would you be willing to eat smoked wings with me? Because I would really love to have smoked barbecued wings.
Absolutely, man. And I don't eat a lot of red meat, but I'm not like vegetarian, but I eat a ton of chicken. And that's probably what I'm doing tomorrow is cooking some chicken, not wings, but I'm always down for some wings.
God, love me some grilled chicken, smoked chicken, whatever. Anyways, we love you guys as well. We got Jordan Norrie, Shadow Rat. Yes, we are watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Just debuted, I guess over a week ago now on Disney. Plus, we got Jacob Comics is going to go see fireworks in an hour. Have fun with that. You'll leave the show early, but we don't mind. We got Spider Dude 71, Low Brow Ephemera. We got 360 Comics. Who else do we got? Raising Elm. We got Tony Trombetta. That's right. We are going to be giving away our June slab, EGS slab from Fresh from the Comic Shop. More to talk about on that in a little bit. But, Chris, maybe we should Jeff Baseman as well. Raising Elm. He's got to have the hot links. I think he's down south, so I guarantee you those are super hot. And I'm not mad at that. All right, moving on. We're just going to get right into it. Let's get in the news. Chris, you got the first story of the day. What is it?
All right. Well, this is exciting for any MCU fans. What do you think? The Russo brothers discussing coming back to the MCU on a X-Men project? Huh? Maybe. What? All right, let's dish it out. So, obviously, we know the X-Men are coming to the MCU. Any real details on live-action plans have not surfaced yet outside of what we know about Deadpool 3, but it's hard to believe that it's been 3 years since the Fox merger and Kevin Feige's original announcement in 2019 that the MCU will be welcoming mutants. It's also been 3 years since the Russo brothers stepped back from Marvel films after Endgame and told the public that they wanted to take time off to focus on other projects, which they have absolutely been doing and have been seeing some success. But now it seems that we might be closer to seeing their return to the MCU with all this time that has passed and with possible interest in directing an X-Men project. After stating that they would be interested in returning if the time was right, with the right projects, right, Joe Russo himself was asked if they would be interested in coming back to create a different take on the X-Men. This was his answer, quote, "That was one of my favorite comics growing up, Wolverine. One of my most prized possessions is Incredible Hulk 181, which was the first appearance of Wolverine. Joe, first full appearance, context matters. Continuing on.
You had to get it in there.
Yep. He says it's an important part of my comic book collection. Wolverine being so essential to the X-Men, of course, that would be a fun project to work on and find a new way into it. But I do think that's probably something that Kevin has rightfully put aside for a while to introduce some new characters to the world and bring that back when it's ready. So let's look at two things here, folks. First off, let's dissect what Joe Russo was actually saying about the X-Men showing up. We've reported here and we've talked about stuff that Feige has said and even some other executives involved in Marvel Studios talking about how, and again, from Feige himself saying, we're not going to do the same thing. We're that Fox was doing. We want to shake it up. We want to do something different. We want to introduce them in a different way. And I've always said, I've taken the assumption that this means that they can introduce characters that we necessarily haven't seen in the Fox franchises, or maybe not just introduce them as an X-Men team and introduce them solo here, there, and then bring it together and all that. So I think Joe Russo and the Russo brothers probably already through communications with Feige and team, they kind of have a little bit of inside knowledge on this. But at the end of the day, this is just him expressing his opinions, answering a question that the interviewer asked me, what about the X-Men? So I don't think this conversation really has any depth in saying, oh man, the Russo brothers are going to come back to direct X-Men. What I do believe, though, is that we are getting closer to their return. I think they're going to return, maybe given another couple of years or so. I think they're going to return, and I think whatever they do is going to be amazing. Something X-Men, I think, would absolutely work.
Yeah, as Thanos would say, kind of paraphrasing here, their return is inevitable.
Yep.
However, Feige wants some space. He needs some breath from what Fox has done. Not that Fox did a bad. Overall, they did a decent job with the X-Men. There's definitely some stinkers in there and some duds. But the last one was Logan in 2016. 6 years is quite a lot of space, but there's also world building in the MCU, and they have a lot of characters to work in there. I also guarantee you that there are continued talks with the Russo brothers to join, because that was a fruitful experience for everybody. Marvel Studios, the Russo brothers, and the fans. So I see something big happening here. However, it's still going to be a slow build. So I wouldn't think, next year or whatever, but who knows? Maybe San Diego Comic-Con, they'll start announcing some X-Men thing, because they said mutants are coming last time he was on stage. So who knows? Maybe there'll be some more solid information coming in regards to the X-Men.
Right. I agree, too. And, hey, keep in mind, too, again, when it comes to the Russo brothers, it doesn't even need to be X-Men. I mean, there's already been rumor out there, and, it's just fan rumor saying, hey, if we do a Secret Wars, Russo brothers. I mean, there's so much to be thrown on the table. I think we're going to get X-Men at some point. We're going to get the Russo brothers back at some point. That's about all I think we can speculate on at the moment.
No doubt about that. Before we move on to the next story, why don't you guys subscribe if you haven't done that already? Chris and I would enjoy that immensely. Actually, hit the don't like as well and tell us why. But moving on, we have another story coming up, and that is DCEU based, Chris. It's DCEU. Black Adam versus Superman. This is what the fans want to see. And Chris and I, actually, Chris, you've been kind of driving this conversation. I'm hanging along for the ride, but I completely agree with you. How The Rock he wants to make content that kind of resonates with the fans. That absolutely resonates with the fans. That's been his MO this whole time. So this talk of Superman versus Black Adam, it doesn't avoid Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Not at all. He has expressed his extreme interest in having Black Adam meet Superman in the DCEU, and this recent tweet by him does not put that rumor to bed. From back in the day when I was wrestling in flea markets for $40 a match, all the way to now, I've learned to always listen to the audience, because they will always lead you to where you need to go. I hear you, and I always got you. Chris, tell me. Oh, I thought you were slamming the desk. You're so excited about that. Chris, right there. I hear you, and I always got you. Where does that lead your mind?
I mean, I think if I was an executive at DC, and I think we've talked about this being with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, what he's done, sitting at that table, they gotta be open to what he's saying. and again, if you just look back at it's not even what he necessarily does as an actor. It's just that core root of his personality. I think there's something that's there that's allowed him to be as successful as he's been. There's something there that you just have to appreciate and respect. And I think with that comes listening to opinions on what he feels might work in certain scenarios that he's involved in. And as I always said, maybe his movies aren't Academy Award winning movies, but they're always fun and enjoyable. And I always love seeing him on screen. DCEU is in a mess of a place, and and they're trying to work things out. So I don't know if this is him throwing it out there to just get eyes on it, because he's, and I'm sure people in his position, everything that they can do can be strategic, right? Yeah. Or it could just be him being a fan and sharing this and saying this, and it's not strategic at all. There's no double meaning. There's no, it's not cryptic. It's just, but regardless of the point, he has power to influence. So no matter his intent, I think the fans are going to latch onto this. People are going to start talking. Look what happened with John, how do you say it? Straczynski, whatever. Fantastic Four, Reed Richards casting that was pushed by the fans, and Feige and team, they were listening. What did we get? So this is another situation where, okay, look, let's look at where we've been. We can mark some checks off of how we've been trying to move forward in the right direction. Whether or not, whatever his intent was behind this, if we get a roar behind it, let's keep our ears open to it and our minds open to it and say, hey, maybe this is something that'll work.
Yeah, I agree, especially the fact that he's so involved in the creative process as well, because Black Adam was supposed to meet Shazam in that film. And the creators were just, including The Rock, were like, we need to split these movies up before we start doing that. And I think this is going to work. Chris, you and I have talked about how long he's been involved with Black Adam, how passionate you need to be. And I really think that passion is going to fuel this film and help the DCEU, as we talk about, move the needle forward and open up more doors to quality productions. They're starting to weed out the executives from Warner Brothers that are overseeing DC. I think we will see better days ahead with the DCEU, with The Rock behind there, especially ideally seeing, Cavill's Superman in there, because he hasn't put on the tights since 2017. And his, since then his hiatus it's just been up in the air. So we can only hope to see Henry Cavill back as Superman going against eventually the Black Adam and other adventures as well. So before we move on to the next story, just want to say hi to some people. Dan, you never need to apologize to us. Okay, we're happy you're here. And Serge Henderson is here in the house. How you doing, Serge? Happy to have you here. All right, Chris, you got the next story. What do we got?
Well, Jeff, it's so funny because we talked about this. Did we talk about this live? I know I talked about it on my channel. I know I talked about it with you in private. But, guys, Obi-Wan Kenobi originally pitched as a movie trilogy.
What?
All right.
That's the second time I've done that to your story, by the way.
I know. Well, hey, look, I mean, this TV show, we're done. We got the 6 episodes. It's a wrap. It's been it broke streaming records on Disney Plus. And even though it had its down moments, I personally came out of the season finale. Seeing the show was an amazing overall success that gave us some of the greatest moments of Star Wars history. Absolutely, especially in that finale. Still, I question if making it a feature film may have been the better option. Now, one of the show's credited writers, by the name of Stuart Beatty, disclosed in an exclusive interview with The Direct that the original plan was to make a film trilogy, but said that the lackluster performance of Solo, Disney's last Star Wars feature release outside of the already planned sequel trilogy finale, The Rise of Skywalker, it was the catalyst for the change in this direction, unfortunately. Beatty had written a screenplay for what was supposed to be the first film of an Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy. In this recent interview with The Direct, he stated, quote, "I wrote the film that they based the show on, so yeah, I spent like a year and a half working on it. And then when the decision was made not to make any more spin-off films after Solo came out, I left the project and went on to other things. Joby came on and looked at my scripts and turned it into 2 hours to 6 hours. So I did not work with them at all. I just got credit for the episodes because it was all my stuff. Now, just for context there, keep in mind that the 6 episodes, if you eliminate the intro and the credits, it was only about 3.5 hours of actual runtime. But obviously, that's not really the point of the news story here. So getting back to that, Jeff, I find this very interesting because I was thinking this all along.
Yeah.
But it breaks my heart that it's seeming to be, at least from Beatty, who obviously was involved in the creative process here, at least from his perspective, he's saying that because of the backlash and the faltering success that it saw at the box office of the film Solo, they changed their plans. And I know you and we look, I still to this day think that Rian Johnson did a huge injustice to The Last Jedi. Okay. I could go in that film and pick a few things out that, but ultimately some of the facts that we know about that film. And I think this is important leading into this current issue. It's not just Rian Johnson's fault. Kathleen Kennedy and the Lucasfilm executives, they didn't have their plan together. They had Colin Trevorrow set to hop in after JJ. Actually, I do believe that the Trevorrow was supposed to actually do the whole trilogy, and then they brought JJ on, and then they ended up they were working together. And I don't know if they were. I do believe JJ and Trevorrow they were kind of butting heads on certain things, and then Kennedy and Lucasfilms let JJ take over the first film, and then they didn't have any plan after that. Then they decided to keep Trevorrow on for the last 2 films. Then somehow, some way, they said, nope, we're going to bring Rian Johnson in for the second film, and we still don't know what we're going to do with the third film. And after that backlash, they decided we got to get Abrams back because I think that'll at least help try to iron all this out. So unfortunately, we don't even know how that trilogy was supposed to be and how it was supposed to end. And we know that Rian Johnson he stated this, he didn't even watch The Force Awakens when he went in to working on the second film, which was actually the 8th film out of 7 prior, spanning a 30-year period, right? So much backlash. A lot of this backlash was nasty, and they tried to bring in certain individuals, brought in their own prejudices and maybe some bigotry and things like that to state why this is ruining Star Wars. Leaving all that out of it, there was very, very valid reasonings for people to have issues with this film. And it was only because of this backlash from Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi that Solo did so bad. And that's why that context was needed. The reason why Solo did bad at the box office was because people were protesting Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilms saying, you guys and Rian Johnson, you screwed us, you screwed the fans, you screwed up Star Wars. We're not going to go and see that movie. Well, Solo comes out, and why it's not the best movie ever made, maybe not the best, but it was I thought it was well done, and it was extremely enjoyable. And when you put up all the spin-off Solo feature films that Disney has done, I know there's only 2, Rogue One and Solo, those could arguably be the 2 best Disney films of the full-length feature films.
That's fair.
And because so you have Lucasfilms and Disney just looking at this reaction based on The Last Jedi, not even Solo, but all they're doing is looking at the numbers of Solo, saying Disney Plus show. So Jeff, it just I'm not going to sit here and be a negative Nancy because, like I said, I watched the finale. I had ups and downs in that show, but man, I got emotional, shed some tears, some great moments that are going to be some of the best moments of Star Wars in the almost 50 years that we had it so far. But still, this leaves a hole in my stomach because it's like, now we'll never know. We'll never know. And I think all of this could have been avoided.
Yeah, I think that that era of the trilogies and Solo will be seen as a messy period in Star Wars, right? Not really planned out very well. I think another factor was that Solo came, right off the heels of The Last Jedi, very close in release. So that was a result of poor performance at the box office potentially. There's so many things you could point at here. Also, with Solo, you and I both have expressed I enjoyed Solo. I really did. That production was in a mess as well because it had 3 different directors.
Right.
2 teaming up together. Then finally, was it Ron Howard directing it? So I hear what you're saying. I think too we're very spoiled at this point as well in regards to the content that we have available to us. 20 years ago, if somebody were to say to you, you'd be watching this. You'd be watching, those moments that you said that were like some of the best in Star Wars lore. You wouldn't believe it. So I think we have to put things in perspective. When we feel people don't do justice to the things that we love, it hurts. However, we're still going to continue to get great content out of Star Wars, and I'm excited about that, and I hope everybody else is. I know you are.
Absolutely. And I will say, I think probably some of the best decisions they made, being in the situation that they were in with the TV show, was bringing on Andrew Stanton from Pixar fame, who I used to make grande soy vanilla lattes for every day when I worked at Starbucks. I think that was a great move, and maybe we wouldn't have had that if we had the films, and then we wouldn't have got the certain moments that we do have. So, everything, it is what it is, and we got to take it in stride, right?
That's exactly it. We do have to take it in stride, but we also do have to move on to the final story of the week. But before we do, I want to say hello to Vinny Whitlock. I don't think we've seen you for a while. Glad you're here. Everybody, I want to remind you again, like and subscribe if you haven't already. We really appreciate that. Moving on to the final story of the week. You guys, Chris and I are very careful in the stories that we pick, making sure things are confirmed, making sure you're not getting any of this bullshit rumor that people are like, breaking, there's going to be a awesome movie about an awesome superhero, and there's no sources or anything like that. And this one story right here, Chris and I were debating, should we do it, should we not? Because it's not confirmed, but it's pretty much well known. These characters are going to be in this movie. That's right. We're going to be talking about a leak for Black Panther 2 World of Wakanda. We had over this past week, our first looks at some characters that have not made their way into the MCU. So we're going to bring them up here with a grain of salt, right, Chris? Let's preface this. Grain of salt. Chris and I are going beyond what we normally do here, but we want to share it with you. Courtesy of MCU_faculty, we got our first look at Namor, which honestly, Chris, if this is what it's going to be, I'm not mad at this. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is all still speculative rumor where nothing's confirmed. We don't know the origination of these. We don't know the original source of this material. We know that we live in a day and age where anybody can make amazing fan art on Photoshop. But, these have been coming out from multiple sources. And as we're getting closer, I think, we can confirm, even if this isn't, we can't confirm anything, but we can't assume that at least Namor is going to be showing up in the Black Panther. And there's been a couple different concept arts that have been leaked as well. So this definitely takes on the image of the actor that was cast for the film that we were questioning if they would be playing Namor. And it's realistic and accurate to the comics at the same time. And I'm digging it.
Me too. I do like it. And we have another character, guys. You probably do recognize. He's decades old. That's Atuma. Could be the big bad of the film. Well, if Atuma's in it, he probably is the big bad. And Chris, this design is badass. Is that a hammerhead shark skull on the top of his head?
Right.
Come on. That's just awesome. And finally, characters that have been in the previous films and other films is Shuri and Okoye. Back in action, a little jumpsuit or something like that with Shuri right there. Not our usual garb, but I'm all good with it, Chris. And super excited for this film. It comes out November 11th, 2022. So that would be the next cinematic release after Thor, which comes out this week. I can't believe we're here. I cannot believe we're here. But yeah, so I don't know. Let us know your thoughts on what you see here. Again, grain of salt. We don't like, kind of contributing to bullshit news and rumors, but this, I have a feeling it's probably legit. But it's only a feeling, and we can't always go by feelings. So that there is the news. But before we move on, Chris, I saw a comment in here that I am not. I just can't. I can't wrap my head around. He says, Dan De La Torre, Henry Cavill is by far the best Superman DC has had since George Reeves back in the 50s. He skipped somebody. Tony Trombetta had to bring up, well, wait a minute. Now, he's not disagreeing with Dan. This is all subjective. We're not getting on anybody. However, I kind of lean towards what Tony says. Christopher Reeves will always be my Superman. To me, no one has done it better since him. I have to 100% agree with that statement right there. Like, I mean, granted, we were all a lot of us were impressionable when that came out, and oh my god! And granted, that got me watching the George Reeves like reruns. I can't remember what channel would play them, but that always fascinated me. But it never lived up to Christopher Reeves. Like, so, anyways, that's it. That's all I got right there. All right, moving on, Chris. Our next segment here. Tom Welling was a better Superman than Cavill. That's a hot take, Chris. That is a hot take.
I agree.
Tom Welling was a better Superman than Cavill?
Yeah. I never liked Cavill's. Well, you know what? His Superman's great. I was never. His Clark Kent was not Clark Kent. It was the same monotone. Here's the thing, though. I think it might have had to do with more of the writing. So if we do see more of him in the MCU, and we kind of get some fresh, different creative perspective to that character, I think he can be, for me at least, in that conversation. But yeah, nope.
I do have
and in that show. Smallville is probably the greatest portrayal of Superman since Christopher Reeves, in my humble opinion.
And that's what made Christopher Reeves so great. He was amazing as Superman and amazing as Clark Kent. 360 brings up, a.k.a. Joe brings up a good point, because Ben Affleck kind of played Superman in a George Reeves. It wasn't a biopic, but it was about George Reeves. And so Ben Affleck did play George Reeves, and he was in the Superman costume. Oh, yeah. That was like, gosh, I can't remember when that movie came out. I can't even remember the movie. Anyways, moving on. We got another segment to get to. That right there is the news. Our next segment here is the top 10 look back. Props or flops, where we take a look back at the top 10 hottest comics on a list that came out on Monday. That's Cover Price's list. We like to look at that because that's actual sales data. We let those sales, those hot books marinate for a week. Here we are on Sunday. And Chris likes to pick 3 interesting books from that list, see where they are, and we give it props or flops, but we want to hear from you guys what you think. So you give it props or flops as well. Before we get into those 3 books, Chris, let's just read off what that top 10 list is. How about it? Here we go. At number 10, we have the spectacular Spider-Man number 98. I do believe that's the first appearance of Spot. Number 9, we have Catwoman number 44. This is Sozo Mike 1 in 25. I am so sorry. I butchered that name. At number 8, we have The Boys, Herogasm number 1. You guys seen that episode? I mean, whew. At number 7, we have Hotel number 1. At number 6, we have What If, Miles Morales number 4. Sergio Davila variant. At number 5, we have Midnight Western Theater number 1, Scout Comics. At number 4, we have What If, Miles Morales number 4, the Paco Medina design variant at 1 in 10. At number 3, we have Wonder Man number 1, that 90s goodness that was probably overproduced, but I love it. At number 2, we have Marvel Comics Presents 158, first appearance of the Clandestine. Not going to say why, but I like it. And at number 1, we have What If, Miles Morales number 4. Chris, that's an interesting list right there. Like what is it? One DC, a handful of Marvel as usual, and some indies in there, Chris.
Yeah, well, I do have to say here real quick before I get into my top 3 picks. You got the What If Miles number 4. You got cover A and the 2 variants. And if you guys don't know why that's on this list, it's a reason that ultimately I wish never occurred. I actually big shout out to Jimmy over at Small Town Collectibles. I did an interview with him about a week ago, and we discussed this issue. I'm not going to get into it here today, but it's interesting that this controversial issue takes up 3 spots on the top 10 list. I think this will be the only week that we see that book up there, and then it'll be gone because nobody's buying that book majority of people aren't buying that book for even speculative reasons. They're like, ooh, I need to see what the controversy is, right? So even I stopped at a couple of LCSs. They didn't have it anymore, but I want to read it. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just buy the digital version and read it just to see
there you go.
what hype's about. So with that out of the way, very interesting to see a bit more diversity on the list this week. And my 3 picks are kind of covering that, guys. So am I going to be positive? Am I going to be negative? Am I going to be optimistic or pessimistic? A little bit of both. Well, let's just start with my first pick. Number 3.
I'm reminding you all, we want to hear props or flops from you all too.
Number 3, Hotel. Number 1 is from AWA Inc. Publishing. Okay, here's the context of why this book made the list, folks. And remember, when these books hit the list last week, as of today, I crunched the numbers of this current week, and we try to compare, all right? This is why this book hit the list last week. Deadline reported that AWA Studios has tapped Ellie Callahan to direct a feature film adaptation of the company's original graphic fiction series, Hotel. She will also co-adapt the script with Anthony Ruff. AWA Studios president Zach Studin is producing. So here's what we got. We basically got an option, all right? Reported by Deadline, credible source, and that's it. That's what we got. People take that, and they flock to this book. There are no graded copies of this book on the census or that sold over the last couple of weeks. That's what the NA means. Now, when this book hit the top 10 list, it was the high. And again, I always tell you guys, don't get caught up on highs, but the high was $35. This week's high was $13. 63% decrease in value. Jeff, I'm not going to spend much time on this. Huge flop for this. And I will give a little context of why I'm saying it's flops. I've talked about this as of late. Anytime anything is optioned, they don't care. And again, I'm not talking bad about Key Collector because all Key Collector is giving news, right? If this information, once this information was dropped by Deadline or released by Deadline, right? People are looking at Deadline or getting notifications, but they're all, mostly people that collect comic books. They're going to have Key Collector app, and Key Collector follows all the comic book news. So they'll say, Hotel number 1, this Deadline reports this, boom. So Key Collector is not telling you to buy anything or nothing like that. They're not, lying or manipulating a market, nothing. They're just giving you the news. But anytime this happens, boom, I got to have it. I got to spend crazy money on this. And already you could see that once that hype already wore off a week later, the value is going down. We don't know if this will even get made because a lot of these option, especially from indie publishers, especially like AWA, I mean, they're not even like Boom or Image. This might not even happen. It might not even happen. So this is a huge flop. People are going to forget about this. If it does happen, a large majority of these types of live action properties that do get optioned, they're not even great or anything to remember anyways. So this is just, unless you like this book because you want to read the book, personally, for me, I would stay away from it.
I'm going to give it flops as well. I have no interest in the book. And let's think here, guys. Everything from the Sixth Gun, all the way back, at least 10 years ago, to Kaiju Score, all were optioned. Kaiju Score, more recently, it still may happen. But as you're saying, Chris, a lot of these don't even make it to the roll of the camera. So you got to be careful. Don't go crazy if you want to pick it up and then flip it right now, because I guarantee you there's going to be some demand for it. But other than that, I see no interest in it. And who is it who said that? Norton Rad 82 said it's only a 4-issue series as well. Those don't tend to do well. Right. So I say flop as well.
Yep. I'm going to add one more little thing to this. If this made the list, sort of how Nice House on the Lake made the list, that's different, because it's actually people being interested in a story, right? Or in the creators of the story and something new that they're doing and bringing to the table to the world of comic books, especially, because those limited series, limited storytelling series, those work very well and they can get hot. And some of that sticks around. So, but this, again, just because it's optioned, flops.
Well, yeah, again, and just to further flesh out what you just said, Nice House on the Lake was Tanyan. And everybody wanted to see what he was doing next, after Something's Killing the Children. That's why that book was hot, and it's definitely got people interested in bringing it to other media. So, but this right here, I never even heard of this. Like, I'll be honest with you, I never even heard of it. Nice House on the Lake, I knew that was coming because Tanyan he's a great. Not saying these people aren't great. I'm not shitting on this book as a book itself. I'm shitting on it that people are just running out and scrambling to get this. So, anyways, moving on. All right, Chris, your second pick from this top 10 list.
All right,
what do you got?
Well, guys, I told you, kind of flipping up we got a theme here, and I'm kind of flipping it up. So, my number 2 pick, we're gonna go with another indie book, Midnight Western Theater, number 1. Okay. Before we get into the numbers, you guys ready for this? Let's talk about why is this book here? Deadline also reported. Now, this is Scout Comics. Scout's been doing some good things. They've been working with Comic Tom as well. So props to Scouts first and foremost. But Deadline did report that Scouts Comics has partnered with Oren Siegel's Management Production Entertainment to develop Lewis Southard's comic book series, Midnight Western Theater, for television, tapping Kevin Carroll to handle the adaptation. Okay, so a bunch of names that I'm not familiar with. I don't know about any of you guys, but let's just look at the numbers. 190% upward trend in sales. Again, no graded books. Last week's high raw, when it hit the top 10, $15. Now, this week's high raw was higher. It was 19. But look at this. There was only one sale this week, and it was that $19 one. Then, and that's next to 29 sales the previous week when it hit the top 10. That's at 2,900% downward trend in sales. So, the top of this graphic, the 190% upward trend, that was during the week where we got the announcement and it hit the top 10. But since then, it dropped 2,900%. Why? Because it only sold one copy. Again. So do I need to repeat myself? Because this is the same exact thing. Same exact thing. You get it's an option here. We're optioned. Somebody wants to pick it up and develop it, and this is for TV. So I don't know if it'll be a feature film for a streaming service or a series, whatever. It might not even happen. It's not about the story. People get the Deadline report, they get the news, and then they go buy it thinking that, it's a comic book that's been optioned, live spec, buy. I'm rich. Or, I can just flip it for a few bucks. And again, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at anybody being able to, hey, look, if it's your MO to stay on top of stuff like that and you take the gamble, maybe you bought 20 copies of these before there was even an option. Maybe you're somebody that goes through all the indie publishers in the previews to see what's coming out, and you pre-order some copies because you're just waiting on the next thing to get optioned, and then you could flip it for $15, $19 and make some money. All power to you. But for those that just get in their feelings and hear the announcement and think that, oh my God, I can't miss out. I can't miss out. I can't miss out. Guys, chill it. Huge flops for this book. And again, remember, this isn't a shopping list. It's not a shopping list. So only one sale this last week. Who knows what it'll do in the next coming weeks. But big flops for me, pretty much for the same reason that I gave flops to Hotel Number 1.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. I'm going to be giving this flops as well. That being said, Scout does have a lot of good comics. I never had interest in picking this book up, but books like Phantom Star Killer or was it Count Draco Knuckle Duster or something like that? Like, just so campy and so awesome. They have some great books. Another hot book that came out this week was, what was it? I cannot remember it. I have it right here. Agents of World. I couldn't find a copy of that. I would have definitely gotten that. But with that being said, this book does not interest me, and it will be a flop in my opinion. And I don't know. Like, again, to each his own. If you guys are interested in something like this, go for it. We would implore you not to spend crazy amounts of money to get it, though. And $20 for an issue is just no. And again, if you, in terms of the guaranteed production, just go back and rewind to see what we had to say about the previous book. Moving on, Chris, what do we got?
All right, guys. So yeah, I'm sticking with the theme because I'm not talking about Marvel. I'm not talking about DC. My number one pick, another indie, Hero-gasm.
Whoa!
We got the boys Hero-gasm number 1, folks. This is the first appearance of Soldier Boy, who showed up in season 3 of The Boys, and played by what's his name? Supernatural. He's been doing a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Excellent.
So, yeah, I mean, before I get into the numbers of this book, look, I never read these comics, and I watched season 1 of The Boys, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not necessarily one for like the extreme gore, right? And this show has it. It's to the extreme. I actually personally have ethical issues with extreme gore, but I'm not going to get into that. But I just will say, there's a lot of people that have traumas and PTSD, and for whatever reasons, whether you're a soldier or just stuff you've been through in life, and I'm not with it, right? But this show has been so good, so good, that I'm able to put that aside personally, and that's my personal belief, guys. I'm not. It's just that, okay. Season 2 was good, but I didn't like it as much as season 1, and then I'm watching season 3. I absolutely think season 3 has been the best season so far. I really do. I'm loving it that much.
Props to that comment.
What comment is that?
The comment you just made. It's the best season, no doubt.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So looking at these numbers, I mean, this book is up 173% when it hit the top 10. And when it hit the top 10, it had a 9.8 sell at 250. This week, only one 9.8 sold as well, and it was, again, for 250. So that's solid. We're going to get to the yellow font in a minute. Let's look at Raw. The average Raw last week when it hit the top 10, 42. This week's 45. So right about right there, right? It's basically doing about the same thing. And again, average Raw doesn't consider great. I mean, it's a modern book. It's only 13 years old. So probably don't have a ton of low grades. But, you look at the average, you can see that this book is moving pretty similar. Let's get back to that record high of a 9.8, though, and $435. Now, I do believe that around this time, Series 2 about to come out in the spring of 2021. The market's starting to peak back then as well. Just, people were spending a lot of money. Comics were flying off the shelf. 435, guys. 435 record high. There was a couple others around the 300 and something mark. The 435 was a little bit of an outlier because they weren't hovering around the 400. But you go into summer in fall of 2021, you got a couple of 300 and something sales. And now it's been selling for about 250 over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to give this book. And again, okay, before I say my answer, me saying props or flops. This isn't a shopping list. If I give it props, it's not because I want you to go buy it. If I give it flops, it's not because it's not necessarily a good book overall. I mean, every individual book has proper context. So know that, because I'm going to give this book props. I'm giving this book props. And again, Jeff, we avoided the hat trick.
Yeah. Yep.
Giving this book props, and here's why. A couple reasons. I'm not sitting here saying that this is an amazing book to buy right now for investment or speculatory reasons. I mean, and I don't know how it ends. I'm not spoiling anything, but what if, this is the first appearance of Soldier Boy, right? But also the hero-gasm. That's part of why this book got hot, not just because of Soldier Boy's first appearance. So you got two things going on, though, that are putting eyes to this book. Hero-gasms come and go. I heard a lot of people, there was an episode that really, brought Hero-gasm to life, and a lot of people were disappointed in it. Come on, guys, chill out. The show is so extreme already.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Soldier Boy. Well, what if Soldier Boy gets killed off and doesn't show up, in future seasons or whatever? There's things that could bring this book back down. So I can't tell you what this book's going to do in the future. I can't. And like Mark Lineker says right here, the show did things differently. And I don't, and you're right, but I think for this specific show, that doesn't matter for the most part. Why? Because I think people are just really enjoying it. And it's okay. And they're going to go back to the comics because of it. I'm not telling you, and I don't even know if this is a good book to buy right now for investment reasons. It's on the list. So the best advice I could tell you is be careful. And especially for 9.8s, I would never buy this book in a 9.8. If I was speculating or investing, I would try to find a high grade raw, maybe even one that has 9.8 potential. I would rather spend $40-something on a high grade raw with the potential in 9.8 than spend $250. I would. That's me. That's just me. This book could drop back down, but from an investment standpoint, this book, even after the hype, moving units to make it on a top 10 list, it is still selling for lower than it was about a year ago and a little over a year ago. So you can look at that. If you were a buyer and you were interested in this book, you can look at that and say, it's not a necessarily horrible time to buy. And that's a fair perspective. I'm not saying I'm going to agree with it or disagree with it. I think it's a fair perspective to say that. Will this book ever get up to $400 ever again? Who knows? I would say it'd probably be tough to do, at least in the near future. But I'm not giving this book props because of investment or speculation. I'm giving this book props because this show has been so freaking awesome, in my humble opinion, that although I'm not the type of I'm not going to go buy these books. I actually recently just got the second print variant in my mystery mail call of this book, and I sold it, guys, because I've never been a fan of the comics. So when I see it on screen, it doesn't want me to go back to the comics. It's not doing that for me, but I know it's doing it for a lot of people. And I'll give you an example. Walking Dead. I was never a fan of the Walking Dead comic book, but after I started watching the show, I went out and bought the trades because I wanted to read the comics. So it happens. And I'm not going to be mad at anybody that loves the show so much that they want to go buy this book and spend $40. Now, the 9.8, I'm still going to stay away from that. I'm not mad at anybody that says, you know what, I'm going to go spend $40 on this book because this show is freaking awesome. Is it a good investment purchase? No. But I mean, guys, if you bring a family to McDonald's, you're going to be spending over $40 on a couple Big Mac meals at this point in time. You eat it, you're like, oh man, why did I eat that? I regret it. But then you wake up the next day, oh yeah, that was a good McDonald's meal. Whatever the case, we blow money on random. Everything that we spend money on doesn't need to be an investment. Maybe people just want to spend $40 on this book. They love the show. I'm not mad at him. I ain't mad at you. Props.
I'm not mad at you saying props. I would. It's a hard perspective I'm coming from as well. Like, I love the show. I never have read the books. I don't have interest to read the books either. I'll tell you that right now. I had interest in reading a little bit of The Walking Dead, but I would give this book a flop. I gave it. I do have the hat trick. Um, you know, these books are these are not iconic characters. I hope the series lasts quite a while because, again, it's really well done. Everything about it is well done, and it's satirical. It's satirical on just the superhero genre, but they're bringing in elements of just this raw emotion and motivations, and acting is incredible. The production is incredible, but I don't see this as sticking to the point where these characters become. And this is not important to everybody. It's not even important to me. But what I'm saying is, I don't see these characters becoming kind of just mainstream names. You know what I mean? If I talk to my mom about Homelander, she's not going to know who that is. Right. You know?
And is that more of a, can we coin the term here, investment purposes, maybe?
Yes, and that's what I'm careful about. I don't want to come strictly as an investment as well. From my perspective, my interests, whether it be investment, whether it be my, wanting to have this in my personal collection, it's a flop for me. I don't have interest in it. I have interest in this series, though. I cannot wait until Friday when that next episode comes out.
Yeah. Yep.
Is it the season finale Friday? I don't even know.
Ooh, I don't know. Yeah. It's we're getting close, but.
And Mojo Quid, I'm 1,000% going to read this series, but I'm not reading it until the show ends. I hear the book is entirely over the top, so I'm waiting to keep it from tainting my view of the show. That's fair. That's very fair. Anyway, so right there, Chris, that's the top 10 look back, props or flops. We'll have a new list, obviously, next week that we're going to dissect, and we want to hear your props or flops on those books that Chris picks out as well. All right, here we are. That point of the show where we do something for you. No, we don't do it for you. You do it for us. You show off your fresh guest. Chris, what's the title of this segment? I don't know.
Jeff's getting old, guys. I got to keep reminding him.
Chris did try to remind me of a text that I think I texted him today, and I don't even remember. It's really bad. But anyways, I remember the name of the segment. It is fresh from the comic shop. Fly from the pressing salon. That's right. Each week we ask you, the viewers, to send in your fresh gets. And each week your submissions could be eligible to win an amazing EGS slab. That's right. We'll show them off on the show. We'll have usually our guests pick out the semifinals from that episode, and then you, the viewers, are going to vote on the semifinals and finals. And it is an amazing segment because we usually get amazing submissions, but we have to say something right now. Chris, you're really good at words. Let's have you talk about it.
All right, yeah, folks. So the last couple of weeks, it seems that Instagram is having an issue with the FFTCS tag. It's boggling our minds. There's nothing that we can do on our end. It's nothing that we are doing on our end. So as many of you know, you take your pictures, you post it on Instagram, and you tag FFTCS, and that's how we see your photos, because we can search the hashtag. You go into the hashtag, you could go to recents, and we should see everything that's been hashtagged over the last week. Well, there are multiple posts over the last couple of weeks that are being posted and hashtagged and aren't showing up under the hashtag search. So unfortunately, all we could do right now is first and foremost apologize to you all. But the way that we can work around this is don't stop hashtagging. Okay.
Keep the hashtag, please.
Keep it. But you're going to want to, so we got to make this a necessity. You got to tag us at Comic Book Cannon. Okay. You can even tag at Journos Comics, Journos_comics. That way I get it on my personal account as well. Make sure you do that, all right? And we're going to do the best that we can to maneuver through this based on you guys leaving the hashtag and tagging us as well. And the last thing that we're asking you all to do is when we get to the show, you get through the week, you post your stuff, we get to the show and we go through the segment, and we don't bring yours up, it means that we didn't find it in the the category. Let us know why we're live before we end the segment, because then we'll go to your profile, get the picture, and we'll at least show it off and read your stories that way, and you'll still have a chance to obviously be a part of the show, and which is very important to a lot of you, be entered in to win, to be a semifinalist for that monthly slab giveaway. So again, on behalf of both of us, I mean, all we can say is we are extremely sorry. This is a big headache for us, and we're going to try to figure out how to, navigate through this and get things back to working normally.
Yeah, it's we're doing the absolute best we can with what we have. I've had a few people hit me up, say, "Hey, did you get my post?" And I say no, and I go to their post. It has hashtag FFTCS. It boggles the mind. But this is interesting. Maz's Toy Box. A lot of hashtags are broken right now. It's infuriating. If you can give us some context on that, because this is the first time we're hearing anything. I've hit some people up from Instagram, have not heard back from them yet. But let us know where you're seeing this and how. So we would really appreciate that. All right, but we'll move on here because segment goes on just like the show goes on. That's right, because we're giving away a slab tonight. We're announcing our June winner. Before we do, Chris, before we show off the EGS slab that we're giving away, why don't we talk about how EGS, Tony Trombetta, has been so generous to sponsor this segment. Let's talk about it. Chris, go for it.
Yes, that's right, folks. If you guys aren't aware of EGS comic grading, guys, check them out. Every single month, we have an EGS slab giveaway. We pick 4 semifinalists throughout the month. You guys vote between those. We let you guys vote between those to get down to two finalists, and then you guys vote for the winner, and the winner takes home that slab. So EGS, guys, if you want to know more about EGS, check them out on their website. You guys can save 5% off by using the code Cannon5. You can see some examples of their work. They offer optional custom labels, free graders notes, fast turnaround times, very transparent grading process as well. EGScomicsgrading.com. And of course, guys, if you are entering Fresh from the Comic Shop every week and you want a chance to win the monthly slab giveaway from EGS, you can't just post your fresh kits. You have to make sure that you are following EGS on Instagram. Make sure you're subscribed to their YouTube as well.
100%. And we can't wait for their new cases as well this summer. All right. Maz's Toy Box is giving some good context here. The tags work for maybe the first 30 minutes or so. Then after that, the user will fall off the recent listing entirely. Maz also says that it's the algorithm that's messing everything up, and the tags really are not working. So hopefully they fix that. And it's good to know, honestly, Chris, that it's not just us that's affected by that, as unfortunate as it is. All right, here we go. Chris, we are giving away this. And just to remind you guys, all of the information for EGS is below. Follow them on YouTube. Follow them on Instagram, because if you don't, you cannot win the slabs. And this is the slab we are giving away this week. Or we're giving away right now for the month of June, Chris. It was a close one. It really was. It was Brian P. Meister versus Marvel Man 616 Comics. And the winner is Marvel Man 616 Comics with the Daredevil 595. So congratulations on that, Marvel Man 616. Please hit us up in the DMs with your address, and we will send you this gorgeous, gorgeous slab. Now, Chris, it's now time to share with everybody what our July slab will be, courtesy of EGS Comics or EGX Grading. I had it right here, guys. I had it right here. Where is it? It's right here. All right, I'm psyched for this one. I love this one. Tony sent this to us. I was like, heck yes. Chris, look at it in all its glory. That's right, Darth Vader number 20, the best car variant. The best car variant, 9.8. If you guys look closely, you can see a Baby Yoda on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, you see the Mandalorian, just his helmet. And again, this gives you guys a good idea of the customizing that EGS does for their slabs. Because I do believe, and Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, that's a Beskar coloring on the top there as well. That's got the grade and everything else. So good stuff. I love this book. I think this may be more This may be down the road. This may be more popular than the cover A, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the simplicity of how the custom label actually matches the book in the theme. That gray just works so well with the gray border, and like you said, I mean, it's like a Beskar slab, basically.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. So, Tony, good stuff, man. We absolutely appreciate it, as well as everybody in the chat. But we gotta get going here, guys, because we gotta get to your fresh gets. Oh, before we do, again, more information for you to take in. We look for 3 criteria when when we pick our semifinalists / finalists. We look for presentation, how you've taken the picture. Think outside the box. Have fun with it. Get creative in the way that you take those pictures. It could be something that's tongue-in-cheek that, Raising Elm does a lot, or something that's just really a gorgeous shot that Kamikaze does. Those types of things. Just think about it. Outside the box, something that relates to the actual book. How unique is the book? Like, again, I say this every week. It doesn't have to be $30,000, but it could be a book that we've never seen or heard of before. Mark Leneker brings those gems to us every week, and it's just fantastic. And finally, this one we weigh very heavily, the story. What does this book mean to you? Is it a callback to a loved one? Is it reminding you of your first book that you ever purchased, or it is the first book you ever purchased that you got back? Those types of stories really go a long way. Pull on our heartstrings because it'll only benefit you. All right, let's just get right into it because we got SuperCrispy.comics, and he says, here's my fresh from the comic shop for this week. Incredible Hulk 111, a nice pickup, and now my oldest Hulk book in my collection. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. This is what we're talking about. Look how well composed this shot is. Black and white in the background. I like the kind of the tinting on the sides here, and just really focusing on this gorgeous Hulk cover. So good stuff right there. I do enjoy that. And by the way, Chris, I did also forget to mention that, just to reinforce what we had on our last show, that everything's set to 0 right now. If you've won before, you are now eligible to win. If you win, you are not eligible to win for 6 months, but once that 6 months expires, you're back in the game again. So just think about that when submitting. Yeah. All right, next up, we have Nukes Comics, fresh from the comic shop, The Amazing Spider-Man 427. I picked this up from DBS. This action-packed issue sees Doc Ock seemingly brought back to life by the Master Zay. It features Rose, Delilah, Stunner, etc. It has a fold-out cover that features crisp and lively artwork from Steve Scroce and a fast-paced story. Good stuff indeed right there. Next up, we have our June winner, Marvel Man 616 Comics, with She-Hulk number 4, the Zulo Spider-Man variant. This was a cover buy for me, and I dig it. Chris, that cover's awesome. I love that cover. That's a really nice variant cover right there. All right, Chris, what's your first fresh get of the week? What do you got?
All right, guys. I'll take it out of the bag.
Take it out of the bag.
I love this cover. This is so cool. I'm going with some DC, some Batman today. We have Batman number 166. Awesome.
Oh, come on.
Silver Age.
Beautiful.
Look at this awesome cover. I love the kind of like the light blue background, and then just matching Batman's blue costume, and he's underwater. And there's some like laser blasters trying to hit him.
I love this, man. That's a 12 center too, huh?
Yes, it is.
It's gorgeous. That's a nice looking book, man. Good stuff, people. All right, moving on. Who do we have? Comic Toby 420, aka Gus, who says he's never going to win. Keep sending him in. You never know. What do you got? This, I love this cover, by the way, Chris. But I don't understand what he wrote here. $75 worth of comics, and this is all I have to show you. Patch number 3 in this issue, it looks like Patch is in the jungle, the mighty, mighty jungle where the lions sleep tonight. I hope you didn't pay $75 for this book, But I do like the cover quite a bit. I got to get into the series too. I liked back in the day the whole patch, alias. What were you gonna say, Chris?
I think what he's saying is that he spent $75 on a bunch of books that aren't worthy of being shown off. But you know what? If in the right context and it means something to you, any book is worth showing off.
There we go. Well said. You can't say it any better than that. Moving on, we got comic book of Planet Oa. Fresh from the comic shop for New Comic Book Day at A1. Chris, I think this is a fellow A1 visitor.
All right.
Right there we have DC vs. Vampire Killers, DC vs. Vampire Killers variant by Brett Booth, The Flash 783 Dark Crisis tie-in, The Jurassic League #2, World's Finest #4, Dark Crisis Young Justice #1, Comic Book of Planet Oa. If they like one thing, it's definitely DC. Definitely DC. No doubt about that. All right. As we said about Mark Lineker, here we go. What do you got, Mark? Another Mighty Marvel misadventure of Magnificent Mary Mayhem. Stan, Mr. Alliteration Lee. Classic battle between the Submariner, the Human Torch, and the Thing. Reed and Sue show up near the end, too. Also, Doctor Strange battles Mordo across dimensions. Covered by Jack Kirby. Artwork by Steve Ditko and Dick Ayers. I mean, legends working on this book. Love it all, Mark. Love it all indeed. And I like how it's, I guess, I don't know if that's a sleeping bag or some satin sheets, but I'm liking the background there as well. Very sexy indeed, Chris, right? I'd have to say that. All right. Here's my first fresh get of the week. These are newer books, everybody. I guess I always bring the newer books, but whatever. I love this. Chris, no doubt in my mind, you are going to love this cover as well. Darth Vader #24. It's a variant edition. This is the Choose Your Destiny variant. How badass is this cover?
Oh, my God. Dude, I was just saying, because I picked up another one of those, and I love it with the lightsaber on the side. And then I realized that the month after, I didn't pick up those variants, and I just got like the cover A's, and I was pissed.
Yeah, man, these absolutely. I love this cover. Like, and they have a variety of. Obi-Wan is available this week as well, and a whole variety. But they show off the lightsaber, and obviously Choose Your Destiny. I guess is the dark side versus the light. But anyway, so that's my first fresh get of the week that I'm showing off to you all. Fine people, moving on. moving on. We have Son of Comics. What do you got, Son of Comics? Oh, here we go. I like this one. Moon Knight #1 facsimile Sienkiewicz Virgin in trade, limited to 600. These are amazing in my opinion, so I had to add them to the collection. So you have 2 out of 600, and look at that. That cover's awesome. That cover is awesome. Sienkiewicz is a master. But Chris, how would you describe this cover? I mean, you have different kind of depths here with his little crescents that he's throwing out there, and he's just I don't know. I really dig this right here.
I mean, it's a great use of depth, but it's also a great use of being able to, and this is very well done with the modern comics and how so much of the stuff is done in Photoshop and the coloring, but it's actually a bit of a simplistic cover, what they're doing, but it pops right out at you, and just how that light shimmers off the page it's so realistic.
Yep, I've never seen this cover before, but I'm definitely impressed. I really like it quite a bit. All right, we got next up 630 Collectibles, aka Matt Labno. And what does he have for us today? Here are 200 reasons you should take advantage of 25-cent sale. I don't know what he has there, but my goodness, you have made out. What, so 25 cents, 200 books, that's $50. Not a bad way of spending your time and money. That's just fun, picking through there. I got some Wonder Girl there. You got some Something is Killing the Children. I don't know what else is there. Anyways, good stuff right there. Chris, what is your second fresh get of the week? What do you got? What do you got?
I had some Whatnot credit, so I had to use it. And I got this book for pretty cheap. Already had one, but I think this book is kind of overlooked. And as a Black Panther fan, why not pick another one up? I might sell a copy, give one away. Who knows? But Black Panther #1 of the 80s limited series, and that's a really awesome
That's a cool cover. Yeah.
And while I actually I don't know, I think it was like last year where I picked up this whole run. I haven't read the miniseries yet, but I read the synopsis right on it, and it brings. I think the cool thing about Black Panther and his character is that they kept adding on a lot, through the years, and I think this 4-issue miniseries probably does that in terms of the storytelling that it did. So I need to read this. Happy to have 2 issues, but like I said, who knows? Maybe I'll give one away in a giveaway.
Definitely. Hey, don't you have Marvel Unlimited?
And yeah, I know I have Marvel Unlimited, so I should be reading it. It's just finding the time, man. It's crazy.
No, preaching to the choir here. Preaching to the choir. All right, moving on.
I just talked about that too in my live stream on Friday too, about how it's like, you spend money on all these new releases that you want to read and you end up not reading them. When you have Marvel Unlimited, you can read them there. It's like you're not reading them still.
I got to say, the last book I have this week, that's what I did. Yeah. I did that. Anyways, but this is quite interesting because remember, everybody, before Chris showed off his book, we had 630 collectibles. Okay. Immediately after 630 is 360.
Yep.
Whoa, trippy. I know they don't like being associated with each other because they're not associated with each other, but I just find that interesting. Anyways, I've been a massive fan of Gerard Way and his work since first discovering the debut of My Chemical Romance album in middle school. Umbrella Academy is no exception, so I had to grab this sweet 1 in 10 variant slab from Comic Dunes when the opportunity presented itself. I'm not a big signature series guy, but I might make an exception for this one on 9.8. Look at that beauty right there. And I have to say, it's very muted, but I think muted on purpose in the way it's shot, and I appreciate how he's presented it as well.
Absolutely. I want to add to that because it's very, very simple. But you got the shadow going one way and the light coming in on the side, and it's like the background just blends right into the color of the sides of that book. Perfectly done.
I mean, the sides of the coloring right there matches the book. I think that's what you're saying. Again, the shadow, everything about it. It's simple, but sometimes simple is not easy. Joe, let's see if you just admit to us if you put this effort in there or you just threw it up and took a picture. Either way, we appreciate you. Moving on, we got Jacob Comic. This week's issue of X-Men 12, the conclusion to the first story arc really has me hooked. The amazing team cover by Larraz and Garcia is stunning. Got me digging through the X-Men boxes looking for the team covers. The X-Men have always been my favorite team since I was a kid watching the Saturday morning cartoon, and I'm really enjoying the current run. Good stuff. Look at those old school. Look at your short box there with the X. Oh, it's just awesome. Awesome. Brings us all back to those early 90s days. All right, I'm going to get to my second fresh get of the week, but before we do, Chris and I want to remind you all, if you do not see that we showed off your book by the end of everybody's that we have here, please hit us up in the comments and we will pull it up as best as we can from our phones. So again, please help us make that happen for you. My second fresh get of the week, it's another Star Wars one, guys. I like this one. Chris, I think you're going to like it too. It's the first cover appearance of Fennec Shand. It is Dr. Aphra 21.
Yep.
Sprout's Book of Boba Fett, but it's the first cover appearance, Fennec Shand, who hopefully will be playing. She hasn't had a comic book appearance yet. She has been in the Bad Batch, so she's kind of made. She's crossed over there in the cartoon world. We'll see. Hopefully soon she'll make her appearance in the comic book world, other than a cover appearance. So I like that. That's a really good Sprouse cover right there, no doubt. All right. Moving on. We got Nori Jordan. Chris, is it Thunderbolts or no?
Well, I know he was saying he took a break last week and he wanted to get back to it, so I'm going to say yeah.
Good guess right there. I warned everyone I'd be back to my old tricks, so let's show some more wonderful Thunderbolts book. I didn't have any CBCS slabs in my collection, so I seemed it only fitting. The first would be a Thunderbolts 1 9.8. Luckily, I ordered it an hour before the MCU movie announcement, an hour before. Now, on my quest to obtain every Thunderbolts-related book made, I am almost down to what annoys me most, variant covers. It is a means to the end. Excuse me. So I picked up a bunch of variants from Volume 3 and a nice 1 in 25 variant from the King in Black series. Finally, I'm slowly restocking my supply of number ones after selling a few to crazy FOMO buyers and picked up a newsstand that has a strong 9.8 potential. On to next week. Take care, everyone. Nori, Jordan, that is fantastic. We are always impressed with what you got.
He's on a mission, man. He is on a mission.
He really is. And Maz's Toy Box. Yes, the question is, what's the hashtag again? It is up on screen. Hashtag FFTCS. That is for Fresh from the Comic Shop. So yes. All right. We got Raw Dog Comics up next. This cover, Chris, another is Sienkiewicz, I do believe. Yeah, it is. Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood, number 1, cover by Bill Sienkiewicz. Favorite cover of the year so far. I told you guys I was on a Bill Sienkiewicz kick. Holy crap, amazing cover. I'm really enjoying these Black and White and Blood stories. Love you all. Have a fantastic week, everyone. We love you too, Raw Dog. We love your submission as well. Chris, you're fresh. Final fresh get of the week. What do you got?
All right. Going to take this one out of the bag, too. So, what's it going to be? More Marvel, more DC, more DC. Showing more DC love lately, guys. All right.
Look at you, man. Branching out.
All right, more Batman stuff. It's Batman, but it's Detective Comics, number 283. Some 10-cent detective goodness.
Nice. That is, oh, come on, man. That is a good one right there.
There we go.
Absolutely.
It's got a nice big old crease in it, but you know what? I don't care. It's awesome. And I own it. That's what matters.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. Chris, that's obviously your best book of the week, no doubt. And that's why you saved it for last, I do believe. All right. Moving on. We have one more, actually. TM Nerdy. TM Nerdy was the recipient of Neighbor to the North's EGS book. I think it was the May book. It was the King Spawn variant from EGS. Awesome book. So, just giving you guys all context before we show off this book. My submission for Comic Book Cannons Fresh from the Comic Shop is this amazing cover of Cygor number 2. Cygor is one of my favorite Spawn characters, and the fact that he is making a resurgence makes me ecstatic. Not only is this a character that I absolutely love, it was also sent to me by one of my best friends I have met through this amazing community, Brett, a.k.a. Neighbor to the North. It's good. Everybody get to know Neighbor to the North. He just sends books. He obviously just sends books. The nicest guy here. No doubt about that. Cygor, Michael Konetsky, was a friend of Al Simmons before Al was murdered by, spoilers, well, it's not really, it's been probably well known for a while, Jason Wynn. Wanting to come forth and blow the whistle on Jason Wynn, he was captured and experimented on by Frederick Wilhelm as part of Project Sim. A lot of people consider him a villain, but I see him as a misunderstood and confused individual. Also, who doesn't like Cybernetic Gorilla? Cover done by Todd Bruckner, Joel Thomas. Love you all, and everyone stay safe. We love you too, TM Nerdy, as well as you, Neighbor to the North. One of the greats of the community here. Greats of the community. By the way, hold on. Marvel Man 61 working tonight. Awesome to see. I won. Just logging in, but thank you so much, guys. I'll hit you up. Yep, do for sure. And I just got to say this. 360 Comics, we love the low-grade oldies. As you say, Joe, low grade is better than no grade. Always got to give credit to 360 Comics for that. All right. Now, if you guys have posted, if you didn't see your post, please let us know in the comments below. I already see somebody who posted during the show, Maz's Toy Box. But Maz, Chris, did not listen to directions. But it's the hashtag is in there, but we're gonna reprimand you in a hot second. Here we go. But before we do that, again, if you did not see your post, please let us know. And we can't catch up with posts, too, if you're just posting right now. Nornrad, I'm going to try and find yours as well. But before we do that, I'm going to show you off my last Final Fresh Get of the week. I'm enjoying the Miss Marvel series. I hope everybody else is, too. I like, honestly, people, I don't know. I don't know what people's expectations are with everything, but guys, it's a great time to be alive and watching books. And, you know, it's also, or watching our favorite characters. It's all subjective. I understand that, but a lot of people shit on things for just the wrong reasons. that being said, I just want to preface it with that. This is Miss Marvel number 16. I got this today for $3. And here's why I got it. I was happy to see it. This is the first meeting of Kamala Khan with her idol, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers.
Oh, yep. I talked about that book not too long ago.
$3. Guys, as you know, The Marvels is coming out with Rambeau, Danvers, and Khan. So be on the lookout for these guys. Definitely be on the lookout for these. Absolutely, 100%. Chris, I was very happy to find this in a long box.
That's a good one. Absolutely.
At a comic book. So, and yeah, Miss Marvel it's so, that last episode is great. Can't wait for this week's. Maz, stop it. We want to share yours. I wasn't giving you.
Well, here's the thing, Jeff, because so here, okay. We're kind of, I don't know if people maybe misunderstood what we were saying, but so we got Norin and Maz that both posted today. Here's the good news. If you go under the hashtag, it's showing up, at least right now.
At least for right now.
Right. So, but they're posting now instead of saying, look, we posted out the week. So technically, their post should be showcased on the next show.
Oh, that's fair. You're right. However, we may not see it. It may disappear by then. We'll see. Hopefully it doesn't, but it's there right now. I think, as Maz was saying, they may disappear like a half hour later. So, anyways, oh, look at this. Planet Arizona Comics, who likes to listen to our show while or watch our show while driving. It has been a while. We hope you're doing well. No, Maz, too late. You are entering for the contest. We're unless actually, if you do not want us showing it off on the next show, we won't. Just let us know. Hit us up in the DMs. Not a big deal. We weren't calling you out. But please make sure. The one thing that I was saying that we didn't see is that you tag us. Nornrad and Maz did not tag us. If that's your intention, if you don't want it on the show next week, not a problem. But we'd love to include it. What else do we got, Chris? I don't know what that means. Oh, yeah. I'm still so... Chris just private DM me. That is just bad. Yeah, I'm trying to bump Chris out of his own show. I'm sorry, man. Anyways, so I don't see anybody that's saying that they haven't seen theirs. Granted, there are a lot of people here. Usually, again, we get at least 50, 60 submissions a week. There was probably 10 this week that was showing. So anyways, I guess since we haven't heard from anybody, Chris and I, we have a decision to make. So, Chris, I have 3 books that I'm interested in here.
Yeah.
And I don't know which direction I want to go with that. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I got 3 too.
All right. Well, I hate not having a guest. Guys, hopefully we will have a guest next week, and hopefully it's the one that we've been pushing for. He's a fun guy. Definitely a fun guy. So Planet Arizona doesn't listen to us because it's not on a Friday night anymore. Okay. All good. All right. I'll just go first in the order that I wrote them on. I have fireworks going on, by the way, right now. Son of Comics. I really like this cover. I really, really like this cover. I like how he has 2 out of 600. So that's my first one right there. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Son of Comics.
Oh, you have Son of Comics on there. Okay. All right, let's see. Next up. Good friend of the show. His name is Joe, a.k.a. 360 Comics.
Yep.
Oh, shit. This is going to be difficult.
Yep, me too.
And then finally,
yep,
I have Mark Lineker.
Ooh. Well, here's the funny thing, Jeff. I have Mark Lineker written down, but what I usually do is I usually like to get to 3. So I will write down, if I think somebody comes up and I'm like, okay, I'll pick them over them, I'll cross them out. So I wrote Mark down, but I did cross them out. So, but good job tomorrow. But for me, my 3rd was Super Crispy.
Super Crispy. That's a good one too. That's definitely a good one. However, Chris, I think Mark Lineker and Super Crispy are going to have to go by the wayside.
Yep.
Because we are not agreeing on both of them.
Yep.
So it's between Summit Comics and 360. I'm leaning one way.
Yeah, me too.
I think we should say it at the same time. We'll go 3, 2, 1, go. Okay.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, 360.
You didn't say go.
No, you didn't pay it.
I thought you were going to say 3, 2, 1, go. 360.
All right. Well, what's yours then? That was a terrible. We were completely off on that one. Oh, yours is 360 too?
Yep.
360 Comics, a.k.a. Joe. You're moving on to the semifinals. Chris and I need to get our shit together. That's right. Let me bring this book up one time. Congratulations on this. I love how you presented it. I love the book. I love what it means to you. I mean, that's a good thing here. Okay, it's the presentation is on point.
Yep.
What the book means to him as well.
Yep.
I'll read it again. I've been a massive fan of Gerard Way and his work since first discovering the debut of My Chemical Romance album in middle school. Umbrella Academy is no exception. So I had to grab the sweet 1 in 10 variant slab from Comics Dune when the opportunity presented itself. I'm not a big signature series guy, but I might make an exception for this one. It tugs on the heartstrings. I'm not going to say it's a 1 in 10. I'm not going to really say it's a unique book, so it didn't hit all 3 of the things that we look for. But it doesn't have to hit all 3. You know, a lot of times it's only one thing that really does well. But I think he did 2 things very well there. And Joe, you do have to let us know if that was intentional on the way you presented the book, because I'm definitely curious. But congratulations, you are in the running to win this amazing EGS slab. That's right, the best guard variant for Darth Vader number 20, the Sprouse variant. First cover appearance of The Mandalorian, 9.8. This is the July book, so you are a semifinalist in this. Super excited to see what happens here. Again, one last time, people, you need to be here. You gotta be following to win. You have to be following EGS Comics on YouTube and Instagram. Links are down below. Submit your books each and every week, and we will continue to pick semifinalists that go up for you guys to vote on the semifinals and finals. Chris, that's pretty much it for our show this week. Kind of a light show, a little bit. We're having issues with Fresh from the Comic Shop, and the news has been light this summer. But we got Comic-Con coming up in a couple weeks. That's going to be huge. A lot of things going on. I'm super excited. Chris and I had a great meeting together this week to talk about the future of the show and the channel and all that. We're going to be working on some things there. I'm just excited, Chris. How about you?
Yeah, very much so. I think the rest of the summer I got a lot of excitement as well. It's stuff for my channel, for the Cannon, and just for what's going on in comic book, scheme of things. So
definitely. Again, if you guys could like and subscribe to us, we would greatly appreciate it. We don't push that ever. I think we got to start reminding people to do that, because that's what people on the YouTubes do. But we're very appreciative of you all. We have a holiday in the U.S. here. It does mean a lot. There's a lot of divisiveness going on in this country, but we are very fortunate to be living in a place that we do. There are worse places to be living, but wherever you're living in, around the world, we appreciate you for watching this channel as we do each and every week. When I say be good to yourselves and be good to others, I truly mean it. Chris, do you have any parting words until next week?
Yeah, I said this on my Friday night live show on my channel. I'll say it again here. This is the only thing I have to say to end the show off. And it's very, very important to me, because I've had too many people that I know lose their life due to reckless driving or drunk drivers. Don't do it. Don't do it tonight. Don't do it tomorrow. Don't do it ever. But especially tonight and tomorrow, because 4th of July weekend is one of the periods of times during the year that have the most drunk driving deaths. To me, I believe that if you get behind a wheel after you drank and you kill someone, it's murder, and it's premeditated, because you made a conscious decision. You made a conscious decision to drink, and you made a conscious decision to get behind the wheel of that car. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And I'm telling you, if you live in my area, and you have no other options and you ain't feeling it because you've been out partying and drinking, hit me up. Throw down some fader on the Petro and hit me up. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. It ain't worth it.
It's not worth it, everybody. Please be safe. This is kind of a dangerous holiday for many reasons. So, again, I'll say it one more time before we see you next week. Be good to yourselves, and please be good to others. Until next week, y'all. Peace.